Hi, Mika here, and welcome to the third video in the AI chatbot and automation series in our Superchat Academy. In the first video, we already learned how we can set up an AI chatbot in Superchat. Then we implemented that AI chatbot in Superchat's automation, and now we really want to see what's actually possible with Superchat automation and go a little bit deeper in all the features that it has to offer. So again, as always, let's not waste any time and let's get right into it. So here I'm already in Superchat. Now let's go to automations and create a new automation. And we will create it from scratch. As always, let's give it a name. We will call it Superchat's Advanced Demo Automation. Perfect. So again, like similar to the automation that we have built in the previous video, we will keep this one kind of similar, just extend it a little bit. So we want to make use of the AI chatbot that we created in the first video and really create an automation that kind of streamlines all the customer inquiries coming in. And we will try to cover as many of these just with the AI chatbot, with the difference that we first will see whether we have the email address of the contact. If that's not the case, we will ask the contact to provide his email address. Afterwards, we will make a request to our CRM to look up that contact with the respective email address that we asked for, and then get all contact info back. And then make this contact info accessible to the AI chatbot so that he has a lot more context about who he's actually speaking to. In case that the contact has already an email address, we can just skip the first part and then just make the request if there are any updates to the contact and then hand it over to the AI chatbot. So let's build this together by starting with the same trigger. So like we want to trigger this automation for every new incoming conversation. And same as the last automation, we will just implement this one for WhatsApp. Could of course also do it for all the other channels. In our case, for demo reasons, we will just do it via WhatsApp. Then again, here we now continue the automation, and now we will really work with logic nodes. So like in our case, a filter, and we will check for the email address if this is already set or not. So I already navigated into our filters and now contact attributes, and now I will look up email, and now we will check if the email address is set or not and then proceed accordingly. So here are all the conditions that we can set up. So in our case, what we want to do with the first path is to basically only look up if the email address has no value. How these logic nodes or like these filter nodes work is I can add multiple paths, and then we always work from top to bottom. So we check the first condition. If that condition is true, we will go with this path. If the condition in path 1 isn't met, then we check this one, and so on and so forth. If no conditions are met, we will just go with this path. Very straightforward. In our case, we actually only need one path because either the contact has an email address or doesn't, or either the contact has an email address or does not have an email address. So like here in this case, has no value. That means the contact hasn't and there's no email address with the contact. So in that case, again, we want to ask the contact for his email address. So we will continue by sending a message and asking, thanks for your message. Can you please provide your email address? So that's now a lot of typos. So I will just use our AI feature here to clean that up, correct spelling. That looks good to me. Let's maybe add an emoji to make it a little more friendly. Done. Then in the next step, we now have to validate the email address. So here we continue. Here it's already recommended, wait for reply. That's exactly what we want to do. And now here we have a couple of options. So first we have to define the response type. This is how we then do our validation. So here it's not just a text, it's not a number, it's an email address. Here you can also ask for like attachments, URLs, phone numbers. In our case, we specifically ask for an email address. So email, we give the contact 3 retries. If he's not able to provide a valid email address after 3 retries, we can continue the automation here or just not do anything. If the user sends like a message saying, I don't know, something random or just everything despite an email address, we will throw this error message saying, hey, please enter a valid email address, for example, max@domain.com. So like this error message you can also, of course, also customize. We will keep it like this for now. And then we have the user input expires. If the contact just doesn't provide the email within 23 hours, we can assign the conversation here to follow up manually or follow up in the automation here by prompting him again. Exactly. Now let's continue here. These 2 cases we'll ignore for now. If the contact has successfully responded, we want to save this data now to the contact. So here you can also see a suggestion again, update contact. That's exactly what we don't want to do. So here, what contact attribute do we want to contact? Of course, the email address, because that's what we asked for. So I will select email address, and then we will set it manually static to one email address. That, of course, doesn't make sense, but instead we want to set it to whatever we are getting back here. So here you can see the variable. Now we can set it to message content from wait for reply. So we can also change this node and say ask for email, and then you will see it makes more sense. It's the same thing, message content from ask for email. Done. So now once we are getting back a valid email here, we can just update the contact with whatever email we've got back here. Nice. Then we set this as the primary email address so that we can work with this later. And now it's already time to make the request. So in our case, for demo reasons, we are using monday.com. So if we go here, I already set like the count up just to show you. So like here, Monday CRM, and here, of course, there would be a whole bunch of contacts. In my case, there's only one contact now. So it's like Mika Halli, that's myself. And here you can just see all the values. That's my email address. That's, how we will find this contact here in HubSpot. It's the company, it's the deal stage, it's the deal value, phone number, and so on and so forth. So now we can go back. And now what we want to do again is make an HTTP request, going to HubSpot and say, hey, give me back the company name and the deal value for the contact that you can find with this email address that we just asked the contact for. So here you can see, hey, send HTTP request. That's exactly what we are going to set up now. I already prepared it because otherwise it takes too long. So here it's like very easy to set up. If a little text heavy, so it's just an HTTP request, you define the method. In our case, it's a post method. And here I define the URL. Maybe a heads up, here you can just not only receive back data from like an external tool like monday.com. If you have an automation where you ask for a lot of things, you can also everything that you ask for, like the email address, for example, that was just provided by the contact. We can also push all this data into external systems. We can get data, or we can also update external systems. Like this is all possible with our HTTP request node. So here, let's continue setting this up. So here, let's add first like our authentication. So I have to authenticate with monday.com. I already prepared that here. Now we prepare the request here. This I also already prepped. Now let's add a header really quick, and then it's also already done. So content type, and then this is application. Let's see if there are no mistakes. So here we go. Done. So this looks good. Now the only like dynamic variable like here in this like request is the email, because that differs for contact to contact, because otherwise I can't now add Mika at Superchat here. That wouldn't make sense. So here again, we have to do the same thing. So here we can either now look for email address because we already saved it to the contact attribute, or we can ask for email, message content from ask for email. It doesn't matter. It's both the same thing. Now that's all set up. It's a post request, that's right. And now we can test everything by just providing like the email address that we want to test with. In our case, Mika at superchat.de. And now I can click on test and see if everything works. I was lucky, everything worked. And now here you can really see all the data that we got back. So like here, this is like the deal value, 70,000. This is the company name and so on and so forth. So that's like really all the data that we received here. Again, we went to HubSpot, not HubSpot, but Monday.com now with the email address that are provided, and we looked up through all the contacts. Here in my case, there is only one, but we found a match with Mika at Superchat, and now I'm getting back all this data. Can show you the JSON here, because now what we want to do is I want to store the company name, where the contact is from, to here company name, company, and then here, let's call it company name, and here the 70K I also want to store here as deal value. So the company name is a text, so it's like a string. The deal value is a number, so I choose number here, and now I can click on done, and now like this information is accessible to me, and now I can actually make it hand this information that I got back here to our AI chatbot in the next step, so that he already knows from which company the contact is coming from and also what the deal size is. But before we do this, let's add one more thing. And what we want to do now is we want to add a filter, filtering by the deal value. If it's above 100K, this is like then an enterprise account, and then we want to assign the conversation to a support member so that he manually helps the customer. For everyone that's below 100K, we want to hand over the conversation to the AI chatbot. So here what we can do is we can filter by number. Remember, I saved the deal value not as a string, but a number, and that's the reason why we can do this now. And now we check is greater or equal to 100K. Then assign the conversation. And I want to assign it to any user based on workload and my support team. And if the deal value is less than 100K, I want to hand it over to the AI chatbot. I'll select the same AI chatbot that we created in video 1. And now here in the run guides, I can add the information that we've got back like here. So now I can say the contact is from the following company. Now I can work with the variables, and here I can look for company name from send HTTP request node. That's this one. And I want to say here the deal value of this customer is, and now deal value. Perfect, done. So now the AI chatbot knows right away from what company the contact is and what the deal value is. In this case, as the deal value from this contact is 70K, the automation will go with the AI chatbot and not just assigning it. One more thing that we need to do is here we said only if we don't have the email yet, ask for this data. But if we already have the email address, what we should do is skip all three and then continue here with the HTTP request node right away. Perfect, looks good. Here something is off. Here we have to define the message. Let's try it one more time. No, here something is off. Body. Some information is missing. See, that's good. Now we can debug it together. So here the email is missing for some reason, probably because I deleted it. So here we will ask for email. Something is off now. What happened? Let's find it out together. So we send the message asking for the email. Then we are updating the email, and now we want to make the request. The request seems to be fine, but this is empty, which is not good. So here, this is off. Email address, let's try this. Let's try it out one more time. I think I just set it up wrong before. So this worked. I got this worked. Now publish. Here we go. So as you can see, with the more complex automations, of course, you have to be a little bit careful when setting them up, because like here, like this information was just missing. So like here, I just added the email address that we saved here. And now all that we have left to do is test it. So let's now, fingers crossed that everything works now. So let's go in our Unify inbox and here in WhatsApp. So this is the account that we just set up the automation for. So I will just say, hi. Perfect. Thank you for your message. Can you please provide your email address? Mika@superchat.de. Perfect. Now we can already see that it actually worked. Hello, Mika. How can I assist you today with Superchat? So let's go back in Superchat. And here we can now already see what happened here. So this automation is active, Superchat Advanced Demo Automation that we just set up, of course. Now we can even actually look at all the activities by hitting View Activities. And now you can already see here the HTTP request was completed. Then we filtered by the number. And as the number was, the deal value was lower than 100K, we forwarded the conversation to the AI chatbot instead of assigning it to the support team. So here everything worked. I think one more thing that we can do is just let's ask for the deal value. Doesn't really make sense. What is the deal value? Perfect. That also worked. So like here you can really see that the AI chatbot now has access to the data that we got via the HTTP request node. So here the response was the deal value for your account with Superchat is 70K. If you have any specific questions or need further assistance related to your deal, feel free to let me know. Perfect. So that seemed to work. And yeah, honestly, that's it for this video. I think we covered quite a bit, especially with the filters and Superchat automation and then the HTTP request node. But it's definitely worth looking into just like getting started with building automations in Superchat yourself to get familiar with everything and kind of really see the possibilities that you have with it. But yeah, with that said, greetings from Berlin. I hope this video was insightful for you and I hope to see you very soon. Bye bye.